New evidence released today takes us inside the Florida movie theater where a man was shot dead after an argument in January. Curtis Reeves claims he shot Chad Olson in self-defense. The weapon? Popcorn. Witnesses say Olson threw a box of popcorn at Reeves, and he responded with deadly force. Today, prosecutors released photographs from inside the theater. They showed the bullet shell casing on the floor. There's the photo of Reeves' gun and his retired captain's badge from the Tampa Police Department. And here's the so-called weapon, the so-called deadly threat Reeves was reacting to. The bag of popcorn Olson threw at him is yet another example of why the controversial stand your ground law needs to be repealed. It allows people to use deadly force if they just feel threatened. The controversy exploded 2 years ago when 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was killed walking home. And more recently, Jordan Davis, another 17-year-old, was killed sitting in a car listening to music. And now their courageous mothers are fighting back, turning their personal grief into activism and a push for justice. Joining me now is Jordan Davis' mother, Lucia McBath, and Trayvon Martin's mother, Sybrina Fulton, as well as Martin family attorney Benjamin Crump. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sybrina, what are you doing to fight this law?
What I'm doing is making people more aware of this law and how dangerous this law is and how this law does not benefit anyone, especially the victim. So I have been traveling the country and I have been speaking out against the stand your ground and racial profiling and profiling in general, because people need to be aware of what's going on in order for us to make any type of change.
Lucia, you know, in September, the original sponsor of Florida's Stand Your Ground law, State Representative Dennis Baxley, defended the law. Watch this.
I'm very pleased with the protections that our self-defense statute provides. I think most people in Florida are with us, according to what we see, and the results are favorable overall.
He said most people in Florida agree with him. I was with you and Sybrina at a march in Florida. A lot of people there was against it. How do you respond to him?
I definitely say that I have definite misgivings about that statement there. We know that even within the state of Florida, justifiable homicides have gone up over 200% since the enactment of the Stand Your Ground law. Across the country, justifiable homicides have gone up. So that's a misnomer. This law does not protect. In fact, it's just bringing on more increased criminal behavior due to the Stand Your Ground laws.
And it's spreading nationally, Sybrina. You're here at National Action Network's convention, both of you, and there are 25 states now with the Stand Your Ground law.
That's awful. I think people are not paying attention to what's going on until it hits their front door. A lot of people are being blindsided by what's going on and exactly what the law means. So they think that this law is going to protect and benefit them when it's not, as a victim.
Now, Attorney Crump, in Florida, the state where it all began, the Senate just approved the so-called warning shot bill, a move to expand the controversial Stand Your Ground law. The bill was inspired by Marissa Alexander, who was sentenced to 20 years in prison for firing a shot near her estranged husband. Supporters claimed it would fix the mandatory and harsh 10 to 20 life sentencing, but critics say it encourages people to fire weapons. It's headed to the governor's desk, but he hasn't signed it yet. What would you say to him, Attorney Crump?
That we are going to expand the bad law is not the answer. When you think about this warning shot amendment, it's a knee-jerk reaction, and we cannot just be reactionary. We got to think things through, because isn't it foreseeable when you read this law, they say a warning shot, you won't be tried for attempted murder or murder. Can't we already foresee somebody's going to shoot somebody and say, that was my warning shot? And now we got not only Stand Your Ground, but now we got a warning shot defense. It is a slippery slope, Reverend Al, and it is not good for America.
Well, what are you hearing as you talk about this from legislators? Is there any hope and support that you see in the legislators themselves?
I'm talking with the legislators across the country. They're trying to basically come up with plans of action right now. And I think most of them are wanting to really work more upon the state level, not just the federal level,
right,
but work in conjunction with the states to devise strategies and plans to combat what's happening in the states collectively.
Sybrina, you've traveled a lot. And have you met a lot of supporters on your position? Because you've been all over the country. You've become a symbol of this fight against this law.
I just want to say publicly that a lot of people are under the impression that it's just African Americans that's against this law. This Stand Your Ground law speaks to volumes of people. It does not seek a color, particularly because you have a lot of other denominations, other colors, other, whites, blacks, Hispanics, everybody is opposed to this law because they know one day they may be the victim and they may need this particular law to be against them, and it's not working for them.
The popcorn case I mentioned is not a black case, Attorney Crump. And as an attorney, you're in this fight too. What's it been like?
It has been an uphill battle, but Reverend Al, you asked the question, what are our chances? Well, you're with the Hope sitting there with you live. Those women, those families showing America that this is real. People somehow think this is abstract, that this law doesn't affect them. It doesn't until it comes on your doorstep and it's your child. So Tracy and Sybrina, Ron and Lucy, their sons were real people. Their sons are gone. Nobody's held accountable. We have legalized murder.
You know, Lucia, you could have gone on with your life. You could have mourned and moved on. Why are you out here dealing with something like this and crusading and spending all the time you can on the road doing this?
Because I know that ultimately the justice for Trayvon, the justice for Jordan, the justice for everyone that has been affected by senseless gun violence, I know that true justice comes when we change the laws. Changing the laws will make the difference for everyone, that no one will be able to hide behind their criminal behavior and justify shooting first, asking questions later.
And you formed a foundation, Sybrina. You and Tracy are working and night and day. I mean, it seems real personal to you.
Well, the one thing is, Rev, is that, when I think about the cases and what has happened, it was about Trayvon wearing a hoodie. It was about Trayvon walking home from the store. It was about Jordan listening to loud music. It was about this guy at the movies eating popcorn. Those things seem trivial, but those things it makes a big difference to us who are on the other side and who's on the side of the victim, because it affects us a lot more than people really realize, that this has changed our life forever. So we could have just been negative people and been depressed and just do nothing about it, or we can decide to do something about it. And it's organizations such as the National Action Network that help support us to get things done. And that's why it was so important that we create the Trayvon Martin Foundation, so that we can try to make a difference, so we can try to make a change, so we can try to help other families that are hurting, that are victims of senseless gun violence.
We'll have to hold it there. Sybrina Fulton, Lucia McBath and Benjamin Crump, thank you both for your time and the important work you're doing all over the country.